Welcome back to another episode of Hold the Applause. I am your host. Who do I always say? The hardest working man in America. And if you don't believe me, well, just look at my body of work because we are not going to stop. I love the fact that y'all are here with me today, checking the channel out. If this is your first time viewing, please do 3 things for me. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and share this video so someone else can do the very same thing. And if they don't, then we're going to send Myron Gaines after them. I know this is going to be controversial. It's always controversial when Myron Gaines is involved. Yes, one of the hosts from the Fresh&Fit podcast. And boy, have those boys been in hot water. And they don't cease to amaze because they are not going to stop what they're doing. They continue speaking their truth, speaking the truth, because yes, they hit you with facts as well. Sometimes it's just how they say it, as some of y'all would say, which again, I'm going to direct you to what I always say. Stop leading with your emotions. But most of y'all are so emotional that you will not sit down and actually listen to another person's point of view. Yes, you will not listen to another person's point of view. You don't want to hear what they have to say. And so within your belief, you are so deeply rooted in the beliefs that you have, which were fed to you, honestly. Most of your beliefs were fed to you. You didn't grow up seeing this. It was fed to you through a feeding tube. And so you grew up believing some of the shit that you do believe. And you are not willing to have a conversation with anyone else who has different views, which is exactly what we do here. I want to point out different points of views of different people because we are not all alike and we never will be. That's what makes this world so beautiful. We are not the same. Some of y'all are like a cog in the machine. You go one way and that is it. You believe one thing and that is it. You all believe the same thing. You all have the same talking points. And so Anton Daniels decided to have Myron Gaines on his show. Now, I didn't think I would ever see this. I did not think Myron would ever pull up on the Anton Daniels show, but he did. And he is speaking to Anton Daniels and his panel. And I want y'all to watch. I want y'all to observe how all the panelists are paying attention to every word Myron Gaines says. Why? Because he is deeply rooted in a lot of truth. Again, it's how he says it, right? Some people don't like it. You like your messages to be sugar-coated and fed through you like candy. But some people are not willing to do that, and it has been working for Myron Gaines because he has garnered a lot of attention from the past few years. And so, without any further ado, let's get into this video of Myron Gaines on the Anton Daniels show, Getting Controversial.
Do you think that it's best that guys get burned early? Because it seems like once guys get resources and get money, that it really becomes an issue.
Yeah, I think early. Once you get money and resources, then she's playing for keeps. Like this girl right now going after Shannon Sharpe, she's playing for keeps. So it's like, and they have an incentive to do so. When you're broke and you're a nobody, like, are they incentivized to go after you as hard? Probably not. Then maybe they'll embarrass you in the neighborhood. Oh yeah, weirdo, blah, blah, blah. That's cool. You can move and be fine. But when you got some money and your resources, and this is why it's so bad for young guys. Oh, dude, the young guys that like aren't red pill aware and get some money and status, they get cooked the worst. It's better for you to almost like be broke, make these mistakes as you're coming up, then get the money, understand women, and then you're in a much better position because then you can mitigate the risk or you already know how to deal with certain women off of how they come at you. You're like, oh yeah, this girl's a thought, I gotta deal with her this way. Okay, this girl, I could maybe let her in a little bit, but like you get that wisdom from failing. You almost gotta fail when you're broke because you kind of see how you see the real side of females. Like when you don't have all your stuff together, you don't have money like that yet, you really get to see like the dark side of hypergamy. And I think men need to be exposed to that to see how callous and how cold women can really be when they're not interested in you. Because I truly think like women are much more cold-blooded than men are, way more, especially when they're not interested. Their interest in men drop off precipitously way faster. They're more likely to end relationships. They're more likely to break your heart without you even knowing about it because they broke up with you 6 months. They've already been plotting to break up. So like with women, I think men need to experience that because this kind of insulates you from making those mistakes later on when it's going to cost you significantly more money.
What do you say about the chat saying that you can't pull a black woman?
I would say, why would I? Why would I? You could have them, bro.
Why wouldn't you?
They could have them, man. I'm not competing for LaQuisha. You guys can have her, man.
Well, every black woman ain't LaQuisha. What you mean?
Look, I say that's look, I'm fucking around, but the when they say dumb shit like that, oh, you can't pull a black woman, like that's just like cope a lot of the times, because they're saying what that really. Let me decode the stupidity for you. When people say dumb shit like that, translation, you're not willing to tolerate the bad behavior that naturally comes with a lot of black women. Because let's be honest, let's deal with the stereotypes here, right? I'm an open racist towards everybody. Let's deal with the black stereotypes. Black women are fat, loud, crass, annoying, have attitudes, and they don't respect male authority. There's a bunch of reasons for this, but I'll go over simply. The average black woman weighs 187 pounds. A lot of them grow up in a single mother household where they're told every single day, niggas ain't shit. There is no patriarch in the family a lot of the times. This is just what goes on. Then when you listen to the rap music, what are they saying? Fuck niggas, get money, blah, blah, blah. It's just shitting on black men all day. And then the black men that are in their life a lot of the times, not every single time, but a lot of the times, they're criminals, they're fathers that weren't there, they're crooks. And it's just like a never-ending cycle where there's no real patriarch in the household. And then on top of that, you know, a lot of black women grow up without men in the house. They end up becoming extremely masculine. Now, this is fantastic when it comes to survival, getting a job, making your way through life. But this is terrible when it comes to attracting masculine men. Masculine men don't want masculine women in return. That would make you probably more than likely gay if you're attracted to yourself, right? And I always use the analogy because
That's your lane, Molly.
Because here's the thing with black women, right? They'll sit there and they'll say, oh, you can't handle me. And I'll say, why the fuck should I? Because let me tell you this. If you went up to a black woman and you said, hey, look, I like to wear heels on Saturdays, she'll be like, ew, what the fuck? She'd curve you, rightfully so. That's weird. But why is it that we're supposed to accept masculine black women when they would never accept feminine black men? They never would. So why the hell should I accept a woman that behaves like a man when she would never accept me for behaving like a woman? And this is the insane double standard where they'll sit there and say, you need to accept me the way that I come, but women never accept us the way that we come. We have to self-improve. Why don't they have to self-improve? So when they say dumb shit like that, saying, oh, you can't handle a black woman, or why don't you date them? What that really means is, why are you not dealing with the stereotypical, loud, obnoxious, crass, rude black woman? And I'm saying no, because I don't want to date myself. So if I've dated a black woman before that are polite, feminine, not fat, respectful, speak proper English, you know, they say ask instead of ax, like all these things. And that's what I like. So if I'm going to be around that, great. I don't really care about skin color like that. I have a preference. It just so happens that a lot of the times black women don't adhere to these preferences because they're indoctrinated to have this mindset of, let me challenge a man, let me be rambunctious, let me go ahead and chase a career and basically be the man that I want to get. And I'm not with that.
As I have told y'all before, many scores ago, the black culture at this present time is in the gutter. It's trash. I don't know when we're going to get out of the gutter and pass on some of the things that we used to do. Not what's going on now in the culture. Some of the ways that we had years ago. Because growing up, I never saw any of this. There were no men, to my knowledge, there were no men who actually had to bring any of this to light. None. There were no men. The cultural differences were just that. They were differences. All the cultures were different. And so the black culture was great within itself. It was great because you had elders who were teaching the young generation, the up-and-coming generation. You had fathers in the household. There was a patriarchy within the black community. Now there's not. It's a matriarchy. If you don't believe me, look at the state of the black community now and who's running the black community. I mean, it is what it is. And so with what they are speaking on right now, they are hitting on basic stereotypes, you know, mainly of black women. We all know that black men have stereotypes, black women have stereotypes, and we seem to focus a lot on the black women and black men stereotypes versus some of the other stereotypes, some of the other races. I do notice that. We focus a lot on the black stereotypes, not the other races as much. And so when Myron says that he, you know, is an open racist, well, he does say things, he does speak against other races. I have seen him make jokes about other races and everything, yes. But at the same time, I guess because he is on a black panel, they are concentrating on the black race. But I don't ever see where they are on any other panels, white, Asian, any other panels, Hispanic, and speak badly about these other races. I have noticed that. A lot of this energy is always geared towards the black community. And again, like I said, I will admit that the black culture is trash right now. But hopefully we can get out of this gutter. We can get out of the trash can and back onto our feet because we really need it.
That's fair.
How do you feel about that, Kim?
I agree with a lot of ways that I've said before. I don't think that, just in general, we'll even speak on black women because that's who he's talking about. I don't think that black women are taught to be wives. Whereas, this black woman, if she's going to college to get her degree, these white girls were taught to be wives. They were taught to look for a man to take care of them. They were taught to look for husbands. They're going to college to look for a husband. They're going to be more submissive. They're going to be more passive because they're playing the long game.
And you want to hear something crazy too? It's funny? The white girls be the biggest hoes. I be warning people with these college-educated white girls. Like, if they join a sorority and shit like that, I tell guys all the time, like, bro, you also don't want to wife up a whore. So, like, what ends up happening a lot of times with black women, because black women are very narrow in what they like a lot of times. They prefer black men overwhelmingly. But the problem on the black male side is black men will take whatever, right? So that's kind of the issue where you run into a problem with a lot of black women. Also, black women tend to favor looks a lot more than other races, which is, I guess, maybe a masculine trait. But black women tend to be more interested in the way that they dress, the way they conduct themselves, the way they look, etc. Like, it's very interesting how I've noticed that with black women, they tend to be the race that is very interested in the way a man looks, which is fine. You can have your preferences. But what the problem with that is it dilutes your marketplace of men that you are going to open yourself up to. And when black women go to college and they educate themselves, etc., they kind of bring that percentage down even more so as they climb up the ranks. But like with white girls, you're right. They go to college. They're looking for a husband while they're there in school a lot of times, because a lot of times they don't even want to work their shitty ass, HR job that they end up getting. But they end up being hoes a lot of the times, if we're going to be honest. So that's another thing that I tell guys to watch out for when it comes to the white girls, because every every group of women has their stereotypes that guys got to look out for.
Carrie, what do you think? Carrie, what do you think about the narrative between black, white cultural norms, black women not necessarily being taught to look for husbands, all of that type of stuff? What do you think about everything that's being communicated in a general sense?
I agree with a lot of what he just said. I don't know if it's that women are not necessarily being taught to be wives per se, as much as taught to be wives that men want, because everybody is not taught to go be an independent woman void of a man. Like, some women are genuinely taught to go marry, but they're also taught to have a career at the same time. They're taught to have kids, but they're taught to go get an education. So they're not taught to not be a wife, but they're also not necessarily taught to prioritize being a wife. They're not necessarily taught the characteristics that a husband that they want would actually be looking for. So everybody doesn't come from a broken home either. I mean, I know a lot, we say that a lot, and I'm not downing the numbers on it, but everybody doesn't come from a broken home. A lot of people have a 2-parent example, but they might not necessarily know how to be the wife that they want the husband.
It's not just a black issue. It's a whole U.S. issue. The nuclear family has been destroyed, and there's a bunch of reasons for that. Feminism, etc., has been, I think, one of the biggest problems when it comes to degradation of the nuclear family. But what I will say is, because you mentioned a good point, that women, they're told to go to school and pursue. And I would say, right, if someone wanted to lose weight, right, and they truly wanted to change their body, they would have to change everything about their lifestyle. They'd have to start going to sleep 8 to 10 hours a night. They'd have to prioritize going to the gym. They would have to change their entire lifestyle around to be able to achieve that goal. Here's the problem. We tell women that they can kind of live their life the way that they want, and there's going to be a good man at the end waiting for them. And the problem is, if you want a guy to take care of you, well, then you need to be in a position where you're prioritizing finding that guy. Because the days of, and this is kind of the conundrum of feminism, right? So what feminism effectively did was it gave women the autonomy to pursue a career, make their own money, and become successful and be on their own. But what that also did was it ostracizes the average man from the dating and relationship marketplace, because women will never admit this, but I'll say it for you guys. There's nothing worse for a woman than settling on a guy that she feels that she could do better than, right? And what ends up happening is with a lot of average men, 5'8", making 30 to 50K per year, a lot of women see better than that in America. Even average looking women feel that they could do better than that, right? There's nothing worse than an average guy to a majority of women. So what women do is they'll go to school, they'll pursue an education, they'll become successful. And what they're hoping is that there's going to be a guy more successful, more attractive, more ambitious than her at the end of that road. But what she's effectively done, because she's become average herself or better than average, is she's just now ostracized a majority of men that would have been a great candidate for her before. But feminism has made it where women are told not to settle, become independent. But you got to ask yourself, who are they independent of? They're independent of men. We don't walk around and say, oh, we're strong and independent. You guys will laugh at us like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all niggas? But we run around and we praise women for being independent all the time.
There go that dreaded word again. Our favorite word of the day, favorite word of the year, favorite word of the decade. Feminism. Yes, there goes that word again. And I'm actually glad that a lot of these issues are being brought to light, because that's the only way that you can change certain things. And trust me, trust and believe, there needs to be a change. With feminism, there needs to be a change. Of course, those of you who are already indoctrinated by this way of thinking, by this ideology, you don't see anything wrong with it because it's already embedded in you. This is your lifestyle. This is how you live. This is your ideas. It's your ideology. It's how you move. It's who you are now. Yes, you don't see anything wrong with it. So of course you're going to defend it. But those of us who are looking from the outside in, we see the harm that feminism causes. We see the harm that feminism is causing. And we see the road that we are headed down. And when I tell you, by 2034, it's going to be a dark day for a lot of people, take my word for it. The single epidemic is going to be astronomical. The single epidemic is going to be astronomically huge. It's going to be large. There are going to be more people single than ever. There are going to be more childless women more than ever. Single, lonely men more than ever. And that is why they are creating these robots for you men. Yes, because by 2034, watch what I tell you. If you are still alive, you will have witnessed the day, the dawning of feminism and how it ruins society if we don't change it. So yes, I'm glad that we bring it up. I'm glad that we speak on it. I'm glad that there are people out here speaking against it. And when I tell you that, I will be one of those people too, because certain ideologies are hurting society, and I don't want to see society hurt. I want to see us flourish. And so when they speak about things like this, we must have that conversation. We must open up dialogue so that we can understand what is going on in the dating market, because right now the dating market is trash. And a lot of women do look for a finished package. Yes, at the end of the finish line, when they cross that tape, most women are looking for a finished package, a man who is all packaged up, who has everything going for himself. No woman wants to be with the man that she has to build with. Well, let me rephrase that. Most women do not want to be with a man that they have to build with, a man that they have to build, a man that they have to package. No, they already want the finished product. And a lot of men are not finished. They are still on their journey, and most of them haven't even begun yet. They don't even know where to start. So now that takes a majority of men out of your dating options. Yes, the percentage is small. That is the reason why most women have a low batting average, because the pool of men that you are looking for is really small. The percentage is really small. So coming across that man on a daily basis is a low percentage. It may not happen, if ever.
But we don't ask ourselves independent of who. It's of men. Of which men in particular? The majority, aka the average man. Most women are chasing the same small 10 percentile of guy. 6 foot plus, 100K per year, good career, charming, love dogs, asshole, but at the same time, you know, a nice guy. Like, they're looking for something that's very difficult to find in one guy. So when you've made the topic like, hey, women are told to go, you know, get their money, but at the same time also kind of be a wife. The problem is that for the caliber of guy that they're looking for, right? Ironically enough, They need to prioritize finding a husband. But the problem is that they're pursuing a career so much that they don't have the time and a lot of the times interest to even pursue this guy. Like, and this is another controversial take, and I'll say this real quick, and I'd love to get the ladies' take on this. I say all the time, women lack empathy, okay? They have sympathy, but they don't have empathy. And I'll explain what I mean by this. So men, we understand innately that we need to go out there and improve ourselves, make money, get some status, etc., so that we could be a catch. We understand that we're a bum working at McDonald's. We ain't getting no bitches. We accept this reality. Women, though, however, I noticed, don't understand this. I'll give you an example. A girl will open up an Instagram, have pictures of herself all over the internet being a thot. She'll go pursue a career. She'll do a bunch of twerking stuff on the internet. She'll wear weird weaves. She'll do all this kind of crazy stuff, right? And what'll happen is she'll do all this not knowing that, like, men, though they might look at you from an attraction standpoint, they're not actually wanting to take you seriously. And this is what I mean when I say women lack empathy. They kind of know what men like, but they don't know what men are actually attracted to and want to commit to. And that's where the disconnect happens. So what ends up happening is they get with a guy, they know how to kind of get the guy just by existing, but it's very difficult for them to keep the guy. And this comes from this lack of training where women are prioritizing career and not necessarily not just attracting the guy, but keeping him long-term. And this is where so many women fail, because any girl can get a guy. That's not the hard part. The hard part is, can you get a guy that you actually like and get him to commit to you? And this is where women fail because they lack empathy. And what I mean by empathy is they don't understand men. We have to understand women to attract them. Women don't have to understand us to attract us, because all y'all got to do is be available, look kind of hot, and we'll come talk to you. Like, and we have to do all the work in the beginning. But where women fail is they don't do the work after the guy puts in the work to attract her to retain that guy. That's where a lot of women make the mistake and aren't really able to keep the things. And this is why I'm saying, like, the education system and us women prioritizing their success has overrode their ability to retain men, if that makes sense.
What do you think about that, Mika and Molly?
Oh no, he's 100% correct. I mean, that's exactly what my father always taught me. So he's absolutely correct. And then, you know, the women, anytime, and we've talked about this tons of times on this panel, anytime the women are, you know, in a belief mindset that, you know, I have, they'll call it pick me, they'll call it, you're trying to, you know, follow the man and everything. And if you say yes, because that's literally what I was taught, then it's, you know, okay, well, it's always something bad. It's always something downtrodden. He's gonna leave. What if he leaves? What if he does this? What if he does that? It's never looking at it from the standpoint of trying to have a family unit. Everything is a risk, right? But it seems like in today's society with feminism, if you prioritize this, then if this happens, at least you have a job, at least you have a degree, at least you have, you know, money. It's not prioritized as, it may be a risk, but at the end of the day, you may have a family.
And here's the other thing too, I really want to bring to light what you just said, because what you just said is extremely important with the concept of calling women pick-me's, right? This is a very pernicious cycle that I've noticed in modern women, where they'll see women doing what's required to actually attract the man, like whether it's being super submissive, being super nice, listening to their man, dressing the way that their man wants, cooking for him or whatever. They're doing these like traditional roles. And I don't know what it is, but like women look at this and it's like their knee-jerk reaction to say, oh, you're a pick-me. Oh, you're being caved in by your man. Like this girl right now is literally going viral. Emily Saves America. She's supposed to be a conservative. And she talks about, hey, well, you should probably still get a job. You should still get a hobby, blah, blah, blah. And that goes against conservatism. And that's why I say a lot of these women that are conservatives are really undercover feminists, because what they're doing is they're teaching women this pernicious cycle you just mentioned with this whole don't be a pick-me or whatever, because we have an entire society that tells women, hey, don't do anything for the express consent for a man. You need to put yourself first, not knowing that if you actually want to keep a guy first, you actually have to put yourself second. Your job is the aid, the assistant, the helpmate, because when a man is put forward, when we win, you win by extension. But if we put the woman forward and the woman wins, what ends up happening is the woman's like, I don't need this nigga. Like, his job is to provide for me. I'm the one providing. This is why I tell guys all the time, you got to be the leader and the girl's got to like you more than you like her. Because since women are the ones used to being pursued, the only time they're going to respect the man is when they're finally pursuing, because they never do that. So that's how they're able to distinguish, do I got a winner or a loser? Am I following him or is he following me? Because this whole like, I'm gonna build my wife up, I'm gonna move for her and her career. I tell guys, never do that, because when you do that, what you've inadvertently done is you've given her the frame and the leadership role in the relationship. And the women will sit there and say, I wanna be equal partner. What I've realized is their actions never actually reflect that. They want you to be the leader. They want you to dictate the terms. And the biggest way for that to happen is by her kind of submitting to and having this pick-me thing that a lot of women use. But whenever I see women say, Put it this way, ladies. If girls are calling you a pick-me, you're doing something very right. Do not listen to the feminist propaganda that tries to almost like, you know, when men insult each other and emasculate each other, like when women tell each other that, oh, you're a pick-me, or you're an idiot for following a man, or you're stupid, or you know, you could do better. That's all shaming language to keep you from having a man. One of the biggest things, and I'll end with this. This guy, the Truth Desire, something like that. He interviewed a divorce attorney, is the main bottom line here. And he asked the divorce attorney, she's a female divorce attorney, hey, who initiates most of the divorces and why? And she said something that I've been saying for years, and I thought it was awesome because it finally vindicated me. She said the women initiate the divorces, and a big reason why they do it is because they get talking to their girlfriends, and their girlfriends put shit in their ear. And it's back to that cycle you just mentioned with pick me, you do everything for him, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And women will see other girls happy with a guy in a good relationship, and they'll try to ruin that and be like, why are you with him? You can do better. Oh, he has sim. Oh, look, he's controlling. He's XYZ. When in reality, he's everything that she wants. But since they're not happy and they don't got what they want, because it's so much harder to find a mate for women, they'll sit there and try to tear her shit down. And that's like one of the, you know, I tell girls, if you have a relationship, get rid of all your single friends. They're going to lead you astray.
Ooh, Mika was cooking. Tell me she was not. Everything she said was the truth. See, she piggybacked off of what Myron said because he was speaking a lot of truth, and so she sees the light as well. And she sees how feminism is destroying relationships, destroying households, destroying communities, destroying cultures, destroying society. Do y'all not understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? That is what feminism is doing. And some women will admit that. Some women actually see through the bullshit. And that is why I believe the ones that are happily married right now, they saw through the bullshit. That's shaming language. When others try to shame you for being happy, for being under the leadership of a man, for allowing the man to lead your household, for having a flourishing relationship or marriage, for having a great household, father, mother, children. Shit, you might even have the dog in the white picket fence. They don't like to see that, especially bitter women. They don't like to see other women happy. And so they will shame you into conforming, yes, conforming to their feminist propaganda that they try to speak to everyone else and to try to tear them down and try to bring you down to their level, because misery loves company. And when you're miserable, you need that company, or else you're going to be very lonely. And so they don't want to see you happy. And that is why, exactly what they both just said, Myron and Mika, if someone is trying to use shaming language to shame you into conforming into feminism, ladies, you need to listen to this. If they are trying, if they want you to be just like them and think just like them and hate men and not allow a man to be the leader of the household and not allow a man to lead you, not submit to your man. And when I say submit to your man, I'm talking about a true leader. Then you should leave those people alone. Let them be. Because in 5 years, you're going to be doing the very same thing they're doing right now. You will be trying to shame someone else into conforming and calling them names like pick-me's. I love that term, pick-me, as if you're begging to be picked, and so you will go along with whatever men say. No, that's not the case. It is a smart woman who knows that she wants a man in her life. She wants a true leader in her life. And so she's not being a pick-me. She's being picked. I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. Leave a comment down in this comment section about your feelings and what Myron said and what some of the other panelists said. Until next time.
If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content.